The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it's Emma and Chris up here in Vancouver at Function Point headquarters. We're going to get started in just about a minute, so hang tight and thanks so much for joining us. We'll get started very shortly.
There we go. Perfect.
Hey again, everyone. It's Emma and Chris up in the Vancouver offices of Function Point. Thanks so much for joining in today. And Chris, I guess we'll let you take it away to the races here.
Yeah, great. Hi, Emma. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Thank you so much. 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. We've got a great turnout today, and I just want to welcome everyone. We're certainly pleased to have participants from across North America joining us this morning for this webinar and on the new printout and report mechanisms that we've done in Function Point. As I've always said, it's great to have participation from our users. We depend on you so much for feedback and information in helping us guide where we're going with Function Point, and your participation today will help you in understanding this very new important feature. We're pleased to bring to our users a new and much improved printing mechanism that really is intended to improve both internal and all of your client-facing documents. For our users, that is yourselves, there's actually 20 new output documents that became available to you this last Monday. Each of them is customizable, and after our review today, you'll have gained an insight to create and manipulate custom branded outputs for your system. Frankly, I'm sure that a number of you have already gone through some of the back-end aspects of Function Point and been working on it yourselves. We've added a significant back-end, or as I would call it, out-of-sight mechanism for supporting the long-term printing and reporting requirements of our users. New opportunities to control content, create branded outputs, select and manage blocks of data to present on printouts, and to support the integration of the upcoming WYSIWYG editing tools is now in place. This has been a very time-consuming job, and I want to thank those involved in its development. More importantly, I want to thank you, our user constituents, for your patience in waiting for this upgrade. We haven't had a major upgrade since October, as we've been very focused on this particular piece of work. It's been a full year in planning and production, and this team has worked diligently to produce this new foundation piece. We're excited to be replacing code that's almost 10 years old. And I want to thank Samson and Gary and our intern Travis, who starts full-time with us, our new engineers who have really cut their teeth in helping with this project. Sarah Allen's been the lead on it, along with, of course, Trevor, Alon, and the other engineers. Over 3,000 hours of work have been completed on this one initiative. We look forward to working with a number of you that have customized layouts in helping us really advance the PAR project. And our goal is to expedite getting everyone into the new estimate printouts, the only module that was not activated, one that I'm going to go through today, getting everyone into this new module as quickly as possible. So what are we going to review today? I'm going to start by just taking us through a few printouts that are in the system, some new printouts, and show you some of the differences between the standard printouts and some of the branding related printouts. I've gone through and created a pretty rich example set to just show a few pieces of. Then I'm going to introduce the new printing preferences page that's been set up for administrators. I'm going to demonstrate the uploading of branding components. So this new piece allows us to take a PDF of your current stationery and upload it as a background for the documents that are being now printed out of Function Point. I'm going to review that standard printout list, those 20 items that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to show you some differences between some of those that are intended as client-facing printouts, as well as some of those that are just intended for internal reporting purposes. And then I'm going to walk through the creation of an estimate template. Of course, Emma is here to support Q&A as we go throughout the webinar, and so please do not hesitate to use your GoToMeeting control panel to submit some questions to us. As usual, these questions are welcomed as we go, and once we finish up, we'll try and get through as many questions as we can. Secondly, we are recording the webinar, and we'll have it posted on our community help later today. And I'd also just like to mention our LinkedIn group. It's really been growing, and there's a lot of contribution going on there. I thank you and invite you to participate in that. So let's jump in and get started at the presentation. I'm just going to clean this off of my screen, and voila. So I wanted to start on the dashboard of what I call one of our sample versions of the system. And what I'd like to start with, is really to just tell you the main reason we got rid of this is that our printouts have been supported by an old PDF creation library, and it caused challenges with page breaks. It's not really all that friendly for multi-languages, and we are now in Portuguese as well as English, and there were just a number of limitations. Our vision is for these printouts to be something that you can brand and that you can work with and put reliable information into and present it in a professional way for your customers. And so this is really foundation work that's associated with that. Before I get into showing you through the back end and such, I just wanted to talk to you that on all of the detail pages now, there are, excuse me, let me just resize this. Excuse me. Okay. On all of the detail pages, from companies through to timesheets, there's a new print icon that's been appearing here in this top right location. This new printout gives access to these new printouts that we've been creating. The icon in this situation shows us the company details page, which again, I just repeat myself, is a new piece of work that shows all of the details that are related to this particular company. So it shows the basic address information, it shows all of the contacts, it will show a listing of all the notes, briefs, schedules, tasks, projects, estimates, all of the primary data that's associated with this particular company record. And one of the interesting aspects of this is that as you move forward, you'll be able to copy this particular document and potentially include in it only blocks of information such as notes or briefs, they would be considered blocks, that you wish to, allowing you to fundamentally create a custom report at this particular level. The standard documents are what are in place now, and we've released those, as I said, across the whole system other than just in the estimate section. And I just want to show you one other area before I jump in and show you some information in the background. In the notes section, this is a great place to exemplify how we put in options for both standard as well as client or printout related documents. If I came in and as I select the print icon, you'll notice that we now get a little drop down showing those two options. The note details is that standard document, and in selecting it, you can see pretty straightforward, just has the standard logo icon on it, showing information, comments, and all the details associated with this note. But if I come back and if I choose to show you the branded piece, it allows you to fundamentally go in and put your background brand into the printouts, and in turn print a letter or document right here within the notes section that you can deliver to your customer. So this is the fundamental piece that's really part of this. I'm not going to get into a lot of it, but I just wanted to exemplify one other example because this is where I'm going in our presentation today. I'm going to take us through and just actually show you how to create a very specific estimate printout. Excuse me, one that I've pre-created here in this particular view. So here you could see where there's an example of having estimates with different levels of detail that the user can choose from, and in turn then produce and print it for their clients. So looks great. You can see the whole function point brand has been put in here, and showing our footer, and of course the second pages and such are different than the primary page. Good, good. Emma, any questions have come in so far? Emma, are you available? Okay, I'm not sure why Emma's not responding, but I'm going to assume that there aren't any questions and keep myself going. So I'm going to start by just showing you the navigation to the admin section where these printing preferences have been put into our tools. So under System Setup, Printing Preferences, and of course you will have to have administrative access to the system in order to get at this particular page. You could come in and there is, oh, you know what, I'm going to just pull out of this version and go into another version that I have set up. Here we go. So again, under Admin, under System Setup, under Printing Preferences, I'm going to just choose to navigate into the detail page. And this is this Printing Preferences page is kind of the grounding page where you'll walk through the standard printouts, the printouts that you've created or my printouts, your brand templates, and also control the uploading of your general logo into the tool for standard printouts.
And
Now,
hey, Chris, sorry, it's Emma. Sorry to interrupt. I was just having a little audio difficulty, but I am back. So my apologies. I wasn't ignoring you. And we don't have any questions as yet, but I will jump in and let you know.
Excellent. Glad to know you're there. Thanks very much.
I am here. Sorry about that.
No one likes to have any issues when we're doing webinars and such. Good. So this logo, what's important to recognize is that this has been uploaded into your system prior to this upgrade. If it, you know, when you've joined us and it's been put into place, so it's carried over and grandfathered, you might say, from the previous mechanism. So it is still here. The other printouts are really all of these standard printouts that I was speaking of earlier. And here's a listing of the 20 different items that are the standard printouts. When you duplicate one of these, and I'll get to that in a moment, they get created and dropped into the My Printouts list. And of course, here you'll be able to see just the names, the descriptions, and whether you've attached your brand template to it. And here's where I really want to start today, and that is in this brand template section and under the brand template tab. Now, I want to walk through the process of creating a branded background. The branded background supports the uploading of a PDF document of up to 3 pages, and it's placed behind the main printouts that are created within Function Point. Now, what I've done is, prior to the webinar, I went into my Microsoft Word product, and I turned our stationery into a 2-page PDF. And that's exactly what I'm going to upload here to show as a base background for this webinar today. So here you can see I've created one that's a standard brand piece, and I've also created one that was in landscape format and have it available for uploading here as well. So create one branding that is for portrait, one branding that's for landscape. The landscape piece will be particularly useful when working with detailed schedules and potentially providing those to your clients. Now, I'm just going to call this branded 2-page portrait, and I'm going to keep my units in inches. And of course, a full description can be put in here that shows on this branded tab within the system. So this is a 2-pager, ready to go. And if I select save, it will bring this and upload this into the system and produce it as that background piece that we're speaking of. Now, the Add Brand Template dialog window just gives us some options to now start placing where we want text to go, if we want page numbers to show on the printouts, where they may be, and that type of thing. So you can see the function point stationery includes our logo at the top. We've got the arrow. Our footer is set up accordingly. You can see there's 2 pages, and on our second page, we have a small FP logo that sits down at the bottom of our icons. Excuse me, down at the lower footer of the page. So I'm going to just come back to the first page, and I'm going to adjust this based on what we would typically have in our own system. So pull that out, pull this down, and I'm going to leave the other margins accordingly. I do want to show the page number. You can see how it controls it, turns it on and off. But I do want to move this, I do want to move this over so that it doesn't interfere with our logo on subsequent pages. I'm going to then just save this draft. And notice the growl that comes up telling us of that. And I'm going to jump to page 2. And on page 2, again, you have different control over the placement of items. You cannot manage the left and right margins, but you can manage the top and bottom ones. And so I encourage you to work with that accordingly. So again, saving the draft of that. Notice Approve and Publish. You can work in here and work with your draft and generally position and get this prepared. You can see it's very straightforward to do. And once I select Approve and Publish, it will now be available for me to use when duplicating any of the standard printouts. But before I go there, I just wanted to point out a new little help mechanism that we've put in to assist you as you walk through this. Just come through and check out the Branded Templates help. It gives you a full rundown of how to work with things, and there's also navigation into the online help documents that have been created and are available for you. So look for this soft little icon and work with it accordingly. Selecting Approve and Publish, getting a dialog box. Yep, I'm ready to use this, so let's submit it and get it put into place.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, hi, Emma.
Sorry to bother you. Question came in, is there a limit or maximum of how many of these people can put in for the brand templates?
Okay, and I think as we launch, we have 2, do we not?
That is absolutely correct, and I was not testing you, but yes, it is 2. So for the person who asked that question, it is 2 for now, and if you'd like to add more, we can certainly talk to you about upgrading you to a different package of printouts. So just let us know what you need.
Excellent. Thanks, Emma.
No problem.
Good. So that's pretty straightforward for setting up the back end, the branded piece. What I'd like to do now is just go to the standard printouts icon. And I want to just talk a little bit about the difference between some of the printouts here that are labeled with the word printout versus those that are not. So for instance, you can see the company details does not have, oh, excuse me, my mouse acting up, does not have the word printout after it, whereas brief does. The intention here on our behalf was to create a new set of documents that you can use with your customers and that they could be set up with this standardized header and format throughout them. And we've labeled all of those with the word printout after it. I believe there is 8 of them, from estimates through project estimates, briefs, schedules, details, a simple schedule, as well as supporting the expense items and such that are in Function Point. There's the project level items, and I think I showed to you earlier just that note piece as well. So they're all clearly marked here with the printout icon, and the other particular documents again can act as internal related pieces that you could still fundamentally go through and put your branded piece into. It's just that the headers and such have not been formatted to date to look more like the client-related documents we've been working with traditionally. So I'm going to just point out here, I'm going to be working with the estimate printout. And as we come across, you can see we have the name of the printout, the location or the module within Function Point within which this is placed, and generally it's page setup. It's, in this case, being a portrait versus a landscape related item. So, and each of these items show that currently it is the enabled document within your system. And when we duplicate this item, it will then turn to a no, which tells you that you've created a version of this that's active in the system. Now we can come in and we can preview these. So if I select to preview this particular estimate document, you can see it comes up, and there's the simple logo placement that's been in place and will typically represent that which you have currently. There are the a layout really using our Greek or sample data in the system, showing you what this document looks like as we see it before any manipulation. So you'll notice then next to that icon is our copy standard printout icon. And if I come in here and if I select this, what's going to happen is it's going to take me into a dialog window that allows me to start to manipulate the different blocks and such that are associated with an estimate printout. Now, that last little dialog box said that when I'm done doing this, this printout that I'm creating will then appear under the My Printouts location. So let me explain. The Edit Printout dialog window is set up to show you different blocks that are available for this particular printout. And these will differ based on the item that you're working with. If I were to quickly close this and come and use the company details piece, for instance, a standard document, select Create, then you'll see that there's quite a variety of different blocks that are available here. And these different blocks are what you can then start to go through and control. Now, I'm going to just close this, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to select that estimate details and duplicate it, because this is really the client-facing document that I'd like to show and work with you today. I perhaps have created a second one in this process, but that's fine. Let me just show to you here a detailed walking through of what we can do to customize this estimate. I'm going to start by changing the name. Now, I want to create an estimate with details, including the staff that may have been listed with their hours and such. So, so I'm going to go with staff. And this is really one of the most detailed printouts that we can potentially create in here. I want to point out the Show Details icon, because it's here under Show Details where you'd select the brand template. And I'm going to simply select the branded 2-page portrait. Good spelling. And that sets up the back end or the background of this particular document with that branded look. Now, you'll notice that in the header section of the in the header block, there is a logo that appears from the base logo. This is where looking at the options that exist below start to play a role. I'm going to just simply select to turn off the Show Logo, because I know that my branding background supports my logo placement. Other options exist around showing client address and showing contact names and such. These options control the information that you see in the block and in the block example. So as you go through the different blocks on the different layouts, I would encourage you to explore these and to look at the examples and how it changes here in the upper window. I'll go through here on the estimate. The summary allows me to have a really upper details about the date, if it's part of a project, the title, etc. And of course, you can see that there's also multiple blocks that are available for use. And there are some slight differences. These are differences that represent the different forms and such that we've been working with over these years. Repeat on all pages is available. If you'd like this to show at the top of every page, perhaps you just want it on the first. And of course, working your way down. Now, on some of them, some of the blocks, we have put in options as well to change the titles that are represent the field names on the printouts. Notice here that it says prepared by. Well, many of our estimates have that prepared by option, and it's typically the account executive from the firm. Perhaps you don't want that. Perhaps you'd like it to say presented by. Just simply go in, put that into place, and of course it will change that. And you'll notice how in our block above, it's now changed it to presented by. Many of our customers do not like the word job description. They don't want it there at all. So simply remove it, and then hence your description from your estimate details will show only. It's little details like this that will allow you to really customize these printouts and to make them really look the way you'd like to for presenting to your customers. I'm going to simply move along to the estimate services, and this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting. This particular layout has both keys for or checkboxes for turning information on or off, as well as the opportunity to change the titles that are on the detail of the estimate printout. So, our default is scope of work. Perhaps you'd like it to say, description of work. No problem. Come in, change that, and voila. Notice how right off the bat in our little dialog box above it shows that change. And maybe the word cost is not the way you'd like to put it. You might put in our fees. Again, just changing the our fees component in the top and allowing you control over that. Now, over to our right-hand side, we have, of course, in Function Point, service groups, we have services, and we have also the ability to select specific, showing specific staff on estimates if it's required. The service groups, it comes as the default, showing both the name, the description, and a total dollar value. So you see it here, bold name of the service group, the description of the service group, and the dollar value that's related to that. Well, we can also select here to show check services that are underneath each of the service group titles. Again, pretty straightforward, but the options from our old print preferences dialog box are now embedded in here. You can have to show the service type titles, so internal services, which are the hourly services, internal expenses, and external expense items can be labeled very specifically. But we've given you the option to also change this. So hourly work versus, perhaps even removing it and using external expense items as well. So what now starts to occur is that you're controlling some of the dialogues that have in the past you haven't had really the opportunity to. So there's external expenses. You can see there's the hourly work icon showing a service with a description and a dollar value and such showing accordingly. Now, I'm going to keep going. If I come and I select Show Checked Services Staff, then once again, it just takes us to the next level. And in this case, it would allow us to see that the staff people have been added and dollar values for their work on this estimate included. Of course, the Show Estimate Total is available to us, and that really rounds out this estimate services piece. Now, I wanted to point out that you can control the font sizes and that we also have a little preview icon here. Now again, it's our sample data that comes up with the preview information, but this gives you a chance to go through and to really do some examples of how things may look. So you notice there's the bold dollar values at the service level, at service group level, excuse me, the indented values at the service level, and the indented values further at the individual staff level. We're showing the service names, the hourly work versus external expenses, and then of course totals and such at the bottom. So I'm going to just simply save this draft and just round out by showing you quickly estimate terms and how we have a couple of options for estimate terms with the title or without, and of course also a couple of options for how you might like the signature line to appear at the bottom. Now this has not been published, and this is somewhat important because once I publish this, if you're working with a current estimate in your system, this estimate will then replace that document. And to go back to it, of course, you'll need to work with us and just have us throw a couple of triggers in the background. But we want you to move to these new estimate printouts, and we'd like you to work in here with the preview and through the saving of the drafts until you're comfortable with that which you see, and then, of course, select Approve and Publish. So this will approve the changes and make it available for use in this particular situation in the estimate of your system. Now, as I said earlier, I think I may have created a second one. Yes, I did. By going back to the company details and showing that to you, I did create one there. But you can see I've gone through and created the estimate details with staff, and it's a 2-page branded portrait, and it has been enabled in the system for me. Good. So now let's take a look at what this might look like. I've preceded the system with some sample work that I've been working on to really get myself really familiar with the user interface and such. And I've just dropped myself into that. It's in one of our samples, and if I come over again under that print icon that I've been speaking of in the past, you can see here that it no longer shows as 2 standard documents, but it shows as a standard under the detail printout and the particular one that I had created. Let's just select it. And voila, we have ourselves a branded template with the data from this particular estimate in it. Shows all of our details. The second page is uniquely different without the logo and branding. And as we come to the bottom, notice the page breaks are all breaking correctly and are nice and neat and tidy. And of course, our totals at the bottom. And lastly, our terms, conditions, and the sign-off page. So, just to quickly run through that particular piece of activity to show you a printout that would be done without all of the details of staff. And just to exemplify how quickly you can actually do this, I'm going to come in, I'm going to take the same base template, I'm going to create that, I'm going to leave, I'm going to quickly set up what I had changed before. The estimate summary was the same, the details I had changed, I wanted it presented by. I didn't want job descriptions in there. Under the services, I had changed scope of work to description, services, and our fees. And in this situation, I just want to show the service groups with totals. I don't want to show any of the check services. I want to keep the service total on the bottom, the estimate total on the bottom. I'm going to keep the terms the same as well as the signature the same. Change that to the standard size font. Approve and publish. Submit that. And take myself back up to the estimate to take a look. Under the print, notice, oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not assign the brand to this. So that's actually a really good example. Come back under the My Printouts, Okay. Looks like we're having a bit of a brain freeze of some sort. Please forgive me. Okay, and under my printouts.
Yeah, I was listening, Chris. I don't know. I mean.
Okay. So, please forgive me. I'm just having a little something happening here. I'm not sure exactly what.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Hi. While
Hi.
you may I interject with a couple of questions that have come in that have been really
Yes.
good?
Please do.
Because these ones have come in a couple times, and then maybe we can figure out what's going on with your machine or with what's going on in the meantime. So, questions that have come in that were really good were back at branded templates. So I'm going back a little bit, and we did talk about how there was a limit of two right now, but it's two per office. So those of you, and there seem to be a few of you on the phone with multiple offices, it is two per office. So not to fret about that. And we've also had a question come in a couple of times about invoices, which is a great question. And people have, being very observant on the call, noticed that invoices haven't been included. And invoices are getting a makeover and a revamp all their own. So you will see, hopefully, later this summer, invoices getting a nice new look and feel to them. So stay tuned for that.
Excellent. Thanks, Emma.
Yeah,
and
no.
as you can see, everything's back in gear as it should be. And I'm just going to estimate with service groups. Good. Approve and publish this and submit it. And if I go back to the estimate details page and select this, then of course there's that second printout. And if I choose it, then you'll see that we now have one that is set up with more of just the description at the service group level with dollar values accordingly. Good. Yeah, so actually you can see how when I didn't put in the branded background with the exact same settings, it shows you how the margins are different. There's no logo on this. It's fairly clean and straightforward, and the exact same printout with the branded background put into place. So really pretty powerful in allowing you to set up your own brand in here. Okay, that really walked me through the primary items that I wanted to show to you today. And if we have time, I'm happy to show one of the differences really within the schedule and the details of the schedule. But Emma, before we do that, let's see if there's any other questions.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, we're getting lots of questions. So great. And thanks everyone for the participation. Sorry, I'm being a little slow in my responses. I am going as quick as I can. So really, really great questions coming in. So thanks for that. Let's see a couple that are here. Again, we had the invoices one, and yeah, so the invoices is going to be part of a future release. And someone has asked, this is a great question. You know, Chris, back in print preferences, you have the option under standard printouts to copy versus add a printout, and maybe a little bit, or I can answer it as to why you may want to go one way or the other with that instead of choosing add layout or choosing to just copy one of the standard ones.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure, I can speak a little bit to that, and please help me out, Em. I know you've done a great job writing documentation on this. When Tate and I were reviewing how we were going to present this to our customers, we really came through and we wanted to make it's simple for you to have a starting ground for all of your documents to work from. So hence, you know, an estimate, you can see what it looks like and you can simply duplicate it. Well, you can also come in and really create your own item or your own base template to work from. So you can give it a specific name. So here it's actually a good item for me to say schedule detail. You can choose from all of those printout types that you can see here in the printout type dialog box that's in behind this. So if I come through and I select the scheduled printout, and it defaults it to the different paper sizes, and of course you can, for our European clients, you can come in and choose the different paper sizes that you require, put in descriptions if you'd like to put your branding onto this, and then of course walk through well, here, let me just select Save and Next, and then walk through the different blocks that are associated with this particular item. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a rundown as to the differences. The previous versions, we take you through that first selection window, and we just drop you directly into more of an edit piece, changed to the standards. And while we're here, I had said earlier that I wanted to talk a little bit towards the schedule. The schedule allows you to actually come in now and choose the fields that you'd like in the different columns on your document. So this really allows you to personalize this and to set it up for your own use, and we encourage you to manipulate and to work through that accordingly. Good. Do you think I explained it, Emma?
I think you were fantastic as usual, Chris. I had another good one on a slightly different topic, and I've just answered, but I'll answer as well. And this is something I encountered when you're putting in brand templates, referring back to that, and it comes up and you've uploaded your PDF, and then it says letter or landscape or orientation. What's determining that? And it really is determined by virtue of the PDF, which you probably know this as well, Chris. So if you upload a PDF that's oriented landscape, it's going to be landscape. If you upload a PDF that's oriented letter, it's going to be letter or portrait. So that's what's determining that bit of information there.
So in my example before, I had said that I created an FP brand landscape. So let's just use that, and if I select that and put it into place and call this FP branded landscape, and then select Save.
Okay.
Then of course it does automatically set itself to the landscape from it understanding what the PDF is. Good.
Great. Thanks for that, Chris. Another one that just came in that I'm happy to answer. Does the system allow for multiple types of terms and conditions? And that's an absolute yes. That's all handled back in your list maintenance area in the admin section. So you certainly can have multiple terms. And then when you're building out your estimates, you can pick from which set of terms should be used. So when you're adding estimates to the system, that's something you can pick between. You can have as many as you like. Oh, thanks, Chris. That'd be great.
Just quickly dropping in and showing under admin system setup under list maintenance, and then choose estimate terms, and you can put in the different terms that you'd like to use. The default can be selected, and those will get applied to when you are creating your new estimate. Good.
Okay. So we're getting lots of good questions in. I'm reading through them, and I've got Tate here beside me. We're reading through them as fast as we can, but some of these we may need to address after the call and reach out to people directly via email just to answer the questions. Also, everything that's being asked, we will add to the FAQs. So Chris, if maybe you wouldn't mind navigating to help and training and just showing where the new documents are living. I made a chapter in there up in the Prime section. If you wouldn't mind navigating to Prime, second one down. Perfect. Thank you, sir. And if we scroll down, there is a new section all just about printouts and FP. It's just under configuring. There it is, printouts and FP. So that's where the documents are living pertaining to this new release. And I'll put all the questions that have been asked today into the FAQs. So if you want to keep an eye on that, you'll see questions that have come in from other people today, and we'll keep that up to date. But yeah, we've got some stuff in here that a lot of which Chris has gone over and with screenshots and little bits of information through there. But if you're not seeing what you need, let us know, and we're going to keep adding and adding to this section to take you through more of the custom printouts you can build and what your options are within those.
Yeah, it's really handy too. Notice how of the 4 or 5 documents that Emma's created in here, on each of them there is the next and the previous capabilities, so you can quickly work your way through and see the details accordingly. Good. Great. One of my goals is to try and recognize that everyone's time is very valuable. So I'm glad that we did get through that. Some of my webinars have been known to hit the hour or even longer. So it's great to get through something that as valuable as this in as short a period of time as possible. Excellent. So I think Emma, if you and Kate would like to continue answering the questions online, are there any more that we should bring forward to the larger group?
Yeah, there's a good one here. I mean, they're all good. Don't get me wrong. Jeez, really good one here. Just about going over, if you wouldn't mind, enabled versus non-enabled. Just a little bit more about that, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, absolutely. No, not at all. So under the standard printouts, I went in and worked under the estimate printout. The standard estimate printout is what I duplicated. And when I duplicated that, I actually made a new one based on this standard version. And that then takes precedence, that new item takes precedence. So I made the new one based on the estimate printout. If we see printout type, if I go in under here and I see printout type, there's these items that I've been working with today. And because we have these as the enabled versions of that printout type, it takes precedence over the standard base version. And so really looking at this particular column, you can see which of these standard printouts you have now gone in through the enabled with the yes or no, which you've gone in and duplicated and created a version of yourself. So the schedule version I created through the use of the add printout, and it picked it up here. And of course, once it was completed, it shows it here under the schedule detail on my printouts. Yeah, good. Hopefully that gets that across. This was something that we really pondered over as to how to best position this so that people would understand which ones they've created their own versions of as they go through this process.
Thanks, Chris. That was awesome. Just was chatting to Tate here for a moment, and keep the questions coming. We will answer all of them here in the GoTo webinar, and then post them all into the FAQs in that help section that we were showing momentarily ago. So keep them coming, and they will all get answered. Just bear with us as we go through the list here, and so we'll leave the webinar open to answer your questions. And again, they'll all be posted before the end of the day, along with a recording of this webinar as well. So if anyone in your team wasn't able to attend today, they can certainly listen to this enthralling recording anytime they like.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Emma. I'm going to put myself onto mute then, and I'm going to come over and join you and trying to take a look at the questions and assist accordingly.
Fantastic. Well, thanks everyone for joining in, and yeah, we'll keep it open for the questions. Thanks so much.
Sorry. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We appreciate your time.